everybody, Feder here from 3D Print SOS. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to look at this. This is the Ender 3 Pro motherboard by Creality, and this is called the version 4.2.7. And this particular board is only $35 and should be a drop-in replacement for boards on the Voxelab Aquila machines. Currently, there's 3 Aquila machines. There's the original Aquila, the X2, and the C2. All 3 of them could have H32 boards. For example, the Aquila C2 has an H32 board that doesn't have silent steppers. This does. The other thing that the H32 has issues with is connectivity with Octoprint. So you can run into issues there if you're trying to add much more connectivity, such as Wi-Fi to your machine. Or if you bought yourself a dual-geared extruder and you want to raise your E-steps to have that calibrated correctly, you also can't do that with the H32 machines because you can't change the firmware, at least at the moment. So we're at the mercy of waiting for a third party to release some kind of firmware so that we can properly calibrate the machine. Now, I'm not saying that the H32 machines are bad. Technically speaking, you can get an H32 machine, use it as is for years, and it will be perfectly fine. But if you're looking to upgrade, if you're looking to make tweaks, or you just want more power out of your machine, this is just a $35 price tag for actually quite a bit of power, customization, and just fun. So here's what I'd like to do. I'm going to flip the machine over. We're going to do this on the C2 that has the old school Ender style screen. And this particular board is for the Ender 3 Pro, which should just be a direct plug and play. I'm not even going to have to flash firmware on this. So that's what I want to do. I'm going to do a non-cut build video where it'll be kind of live. I'll just have some tools and I'll go ahead and put it in without cutting. You can fast forward if you don't want to watch the whole thing and just see what it's like at the end, or you can watch the build process in case you guys are interested in doing something like this. But essentially, it should literally be unplugging everything from the stock one, plugging it into this one, and turning it on. It should be that easy. The other thing I could try is, since I have the other machines, the original Aquila and the X2, I could try plugging in those screens and running something like Gyre's UI on this board. That all should work directly out of the box as if it was an Ender as well. So lots and lots of options, lots and lots of benefits from using this, including either maintaining your silent steppers or adding silent steppers to something like this Aquila C2. All right, let me grab some tools. Let's flip the camera over this way, and I'll see you down at the table. Let's go. All right, so we have the printer up on its side, and I've actually taken out a very similar piece of hardware like this out from the other side right underneath the bed. You just can't see it in the shot, so I went ahead and did it real quick. So let's get started. I know in filming it this way, my hands are going to get in the way inevitably in some shots, but you know, please bear with me, and I'm going to try to explain everything that I'm doing so that we're all on the same page, kind of like as if I was doing this live, and I'm not going to heavily edit it like I mentioned. So right now I've taken out two bolts here to try to take this cover off, and looks like they are actually fairly long. And I'm actually using this little tray over here from my toolkit. In it has these little ridges that hold pieces of hardware, you can see. So as I'm taking things apart, I can kind of put them in a spot where, one, I'll remember where they are, and two, I can organize all the hardware. And this comes from the toolkit that I'm holding right now. Hold on one second, let me take this one out. All right, and the cover is off. We have our fan. It looks like it'll have to dangle. Actually, you know what? Let's just take it apart while we have this. So I'm just gonna go ahead and gently pull on the wires of the fan here to try to take it apart, and that way the cover just comes off. Might have to massage this. Let me go ahead and get some needle nose pliers. And I'll actually get a razor as well, just in case there's any glue. I know Voxelab sometimes likes to use some glue here and there to hold plugs in place. Actually, it looks like I'm just gonna have to keep trying to pull this fan plug apart by hand. There we go. All right, and note where that was. And what I like to do is have this board handy just so I can compare where everything is. So it looks like the fan was removed right there, and this will be in the same exact spot, and this says K-fan. So we'll keep that in mind. All right, so here, let me show you the toolkit real quick. I really like this one because everything on here is magnetic, so it's really easy to remove and put back. There's lots of options for bits to use. The driver itself has this nice pivoting top. Has a hole if you need more leverage, you can put another piece in. Has a nice grip. And the whole casing is magnetic and holds a ton of bits, like I mentioned. Really nice little set. I've been using it for years now. If I can find it on Amazon, I'll put a link down in the description or something similar. All right, so let's go ahead and just start taking things off here and there. Looks like I need to pop that zip tie. Let me go ahead and grab my flush cutters. Be really careful not to cut the cabling. There we go. And we're definitely gonna have to get some zip ties going just to cable manage for when we start putting all of this stuff onto the new board. So one thing that's kind of nice is everything's color coded on the Voxelab board, and they started doing this with the N32 machine. Actually, I'm gonna cut these apart as well, just to kind of get some more movement in the cables. Look at this huge zip tie. I've never seen them use this in the past, but that's kind of nice. It gets stuck into the extrusion just to hold itself better. I'll definitely keep that one on there. All right, so luckily, looks like all of these plugs, or the majority of these plugs, are nicely labeled, so we don't have to worry about them too much. I'll go ahead and unplug these. A good way to do it is to grab the plug with your fingers and just wiggle it. I know it's gonna be kind of hard to do some of these, and be prepared to have sore fingertips because these plugs are plugged in really well, and they definitely hurt your fingertips when removing it. But just have some patience and take your time, and everything should work out really easily. I'm doing the Y-axis plug right now. There we go. And the last one is the X, looks like the stepper plugs. Yeah, it looks like wiggling side to side while simultaneously pulling seems to be the best way to remove them. Ooh, that one was stubborn. Okay. And what's nice is on this board, and on the majority of the boards, they're all labeled. So you can see the big letters next to their plugs. And these things are labeled. For example, this is the extruder, has an E, and this is the extruder, has an E. So that'll be pretty easy to plug back in. Looks like the screen plug does have super glue on it. And like I mentioned, Voxelab does like to do this. I'm gonna go ahead and try to pinch it with this and kind of gently pull and see if I can just cut away. I might have to actually remove the whole board out before I could cut this away, but sometimes just grabbing it and very lightly pinching and moving back and forth like this gets the job done. It is just hot glue after all. Here we go, looks like it's coming out. So I'm actually not like cutting, I'm kind of like squeezing so that it oh, there it goes. See, just a little wad of glue. And is it on both sides? It is on both sides. Yeah, that plug is in there pretty good. All right, I'm gonna hold off to remove that one specifically. But everything that's labeled, I'm gonna try to remove. And looks like these two white wires are the thermistors. I'm not sure which one is which, so I have to be careful figuring out what's what. All right, so is this one labeled? It is. So this is the X limiting switch, and it's labeled, so I can remove that one easily without taking note. Let's see what this one is. It's also a limit switch, looks like. This one is the Y limit switch. Here we have the Z limit switch. Okay, those were nice and easy. They should be exactly in the same spot or really similar. Let's see. Yeah, this is going to be one of those where the hardware doesn't line up, but it's all labeled, so it should be okay. So we got X, Y, Z, TB, and TH. Let's see. B is bed, H is hot end. So that's the thermistors. So TB is thermistor bed, TH is thermistor hot end. So it looks like they're ever so gently in the wrong, or not in the wrong, but in a different spot. The thing I have to do is figure out which one of these two is which, and I'll get a piece of, I'll get a marker and mark them. Looks like one plug is white, one plug is black, so there is a way to differentiate. I'm gonna unplug them and just take a look to see what the mark, so okay, so there's a mark here that says TB. So the black one is going to be thermistor bed, and TH for thermistor hot end. So that's all good, and they're color coded, so I'll be able to figure that out later. So that's nice. Let's move these aside. Let's see what this is. I have a feeling this is just a fan wire. Let's take a look at the bottom. It's not labeled. Let's see what this wire would be. That is fan 2. Just by process of elimination, there's two plugs. I can't quite see any markings on, oh, now I do. Okay, that says fan 1 and that says fan 2. Okay, so everything is marked in a similar fashion. They're just in ever so gently different spots. So that should be nice and easy. All right, and some of these, once we get into the power over here, once we start unscrewing these, what I definitely want to do is, as we take these apart, probably put them right into the board so that those don't get messed up. Although they should be really easy to, easily figure out what they are all about as well. All right, so we have the top undone. Looks like it is zip tied up there. Let me try to remove it, just so we can have a little bit more wiggle room with everything. Where'd that zip tie go? Let's see if I can catch it. Get over here. Thank you. I'm like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. Get over here. All right. All right, I was like, why is this loose? But it is loose because I removed that that one bolt from the top, and interestingly enough, it looks like that one did not hold anything on the bottom. So you do not need to remove that. That just held in the the top plate of this. Typically goes all the way through to the bottom, but not on this one. Okay, so let's go ahead and get ourselves a flathead on here. I'll go through my little kit, find a small flathead. How's that one? Perfect. Throw that on. All right, this is gonna be the hotbed for sure. I remember these wires, or the hot end, because they have these thermal protected wires on there. I'm gonna try to keep these all separate as I can, so we can do some wire management afterwards. All right, this looks like it is the mains power, and just before I undo that, I'm gonna make sure I have nothing connected in any way. The power supply is not on, it is disconnected. All right, let's undo those and slide them out. Might need our screwdriver, our needle nose for that. Yep. There we go. And yes, the wires are tinned. You can take the opportunity now to go ahead and cut these a little bit shorter and get rid of this tinned wire nonsense. Put a connector on there if you want. All right, so this might need to be labeled here. This is the main power. What is this? This is either the bed itself or screen, or let's see what else. Now it looks like this is going to the hot end. or the bed. That's the bed. All right, since I have these separately, I'm holding them separately, the ones that I just removed. I'm going to find the bed on here. Okay, and on this one they're labeled on the back, which is nice. So bed, they're in the middle. I'm going to put those in. Just like that. Now, I know some people are really against having tinned, oh, okay, they weren't loose, having tinned wires going into your machines, and with good reason, for good reason. If they ever get hot enough, that stuff could melt. You could short something. You could have a fire develop. So if you're in here, you can definitely go ahead and take care of that while you are here. I'm just going to go ahead and try to get the printer operational as if it was stock from the factory. And I do this on my custom machines. I do get rid of that stuff. I make my own plugs just to be safe. But for something like this that I plan on using, as intended, stock without many modifications, I'm going to go ahead and keep it the same way. That's just my personal opinion. You can go ahead and do that portion however you like. All right, so let's see what this one is right here. This looks like some sort of fan, probably the hot end fan, because that turns on and cannot be turned off. Looks like there's some little skinny wires. Let's go ahead and move everything to the side and take a look at the bottom of the board. Heat one fan. Okay, so these are definitely the fan wires, so we're going to go ahead and undo this. Undo this. Let's throw the fan wires in there while we have everything out. Minus is on the right side. Plus is on the left side. All right, let's get those in there. Hold in place. I know things might be out of focus a little bit. I'm also trying to get it done at the same time as getting an angle for you guys so you guys can see what I'm doing. All right, like I said, we're gonna have to do some wire management afterwards. But when we go one by one, this whole rat's nest that I'm holding here will make a lot more sense. Okay, so here's what we have plugged in so far. We have the bed wires plugged in, the actual things that heat the bed, and the fan wires. So the rest we can kind of just lay down for now, and let's keep moving on. Okay, so now we need to take this board out. Let me go ahead, switch to the right attachment here. Looks like it's an Allen key. That one's too big. There we go, just right. Looks like that is an H2. All right, let's get them undone. And if I recall correctly, only one of these is going to line up with the new board. And like I mentioned before, that's okay. At least in my personal opinion. What you can do is you can also use some hot glue to hold the board in different places additionally, if you want it to be nice and sturdy. It's not something I plan on messing with. Once I install it in here, it's just going to live there. So it's not a big deal if it's not completely attached. It's not like a motherboard to a computer where other components that are heavy are plugged into it or relies on being stationary and sturdy in any way. All right, and the last one, this one was held in by 4. There we go, and our board is out. So this is what the board looks like on the Aquila. Looks like it says Aquila X1 version 1, and this does not have silent steppers. All right, let's try to get this plug out. It's glued, so you know what, let's just go ahead and get our side cutters and gently pull away. Gently pull away. There we go. I know I didn't get all that off of there, but that's okay. We're gonna wiggle the plug, wiggle the plug. Looks like the whole thing is coming out this time. That's also okay. Should be able to easily remove that once it's out. There we go. Let's put this thing back to where it was. There we go. The board is out. Here is our new board. Here, let me see if I can zoom out a bit, focus that for you, so you can see the differences. So generally speaking, things are in the same spot, but you can see the Creality one looks a little bit better in terms of quality, has better heat sinks. And just obviously the black board itself looks a little bit better. But most importantly here is the chip here is just a better chip. It's not an aftermarket or proprietary chip or anything along those lines, and should be able to handle open source Marlin. All right, let's see what gets in the way and what doesn't. Okay, it looks like at least 2 of these mounting points will fit. No, that one almost does, but it does not. A front corner right over here, which is actually the most important one because it's right next to where the SD card slot is. That looks like it's going to be the only one that fits. This one appears very close, but it does not fit. And like I mentioned, me personally, I think that's okay. Let's go ahead and get one of those in there, just to get it all held in place. All right. Okay, let's get it nice and straight. And then I'm gonna tighten it. There we go. That's held in there pretty good. Yep, nice and straight, held in. Shouldn't be a problem. Don't forget that all of this wiring is going to be kind of pressed in here with the cover, and it's also going to hold it in place. There shouldn't be any problems with this. Okay. I'm going to cut the video for a second because I have a couple seconds left on this SD card, and I'm going to start up again in a second. Okay, we're back. All right, so where were we? Let's see. Let's start getting things plugged in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip this back in how it was when it was stock. It's actually kind of a clever way to hold this wire here. All right, because there's no power supply here, there's actually a lot of room for activities over there. And the reason why I did this, yes, things are going to be harder to see. However, it is going to be easier to get things back where they were. And actually it looks like I have to take that back out because I need to plug in the main power cables first. And those are here. All right, so let's get the flathead attachment on my driver. Let's unscrew. Let's unscrew. I'm going to go in with my needle nose and put them where they go. Keep in mind, I'm definitely going to get in the way of some of these shots. I know I will, so just bear with me. Sometimes you kind of have to bend the wire to manipulate it so that you can get it in there. And I definitely should have probably done this portion with the motherboard unplugged still. Yeah, okay, let's do that because I'm gonna waste my time just trying to get that to stay in place. Let's go ahead and get that undone. Come on out. All right. There we go, come on in. All right, back to the other, back to the flathead on here. So this needs to get undone more. Oh, that's why. That's why I couldn't get them in there. I just didn't have it done, undone enough. All right, let's get those pushed in there as far as we can. Clamp them down tightly. You don't want these to be loose for any reason. All right. Okay, there we go. All the other plugs should go in from the top. You know what? Let's get this hot end heater in as well, because that is the only other plugs I have left that need to be tightened down. And for these, the plus and the minus, negative and positive, they don't actually matter. Let's get that loose. Okay, there we go. Nice and easy. If you've never done anything like this before, I mean, all we're doing is unplugging and plugging. I've done this a whole bunch, so I'm going kind of fast. But as you can see, it's really not rocket science. Yes, there are a lot of plugs here, but they're all labeled. And once you separate them one by one into these little like clusters, it definitely makes it much, much easier to manage. So just take your time and organize the wiring. And as you can see, like as you start to eliminate the things you're not working on, things start to get a little bit easier. So that's kind of how I like to do it. Just go one by one and problem solve as you go, kind of like we're doing in this video. All right, let me put on the other tip here. There we go. Let's get that on there. All right, let's keep it going. All right, I'm gonna start at the top and get things plugged in at the top. Looks like right here we have the Z axis. Plug that in. Let's keep going. What's this? This is the Z end stop. There we go. Try to keep that one low down there. All right, so this is, let's get some reference here. This is the black thermistor. This is TB. This is for the bed. Plug that in. And make sure you guys are still in focus here. All right, let's keep going. Anything lower? Yep, right here. This is the other thermistor. It looks like I'm gonna have to pull it out of here a little bit to reach. Let's see if I can, or I have to undo some of these zip ties. Yeah, this one's going to be a little bit short. Yep, and just pulling it doesn't seem to work. So here we go. I'm gonna have to cut up some of the zip ties that are on this cable. And there are quite a few actually going up this way, and I'm gonna undo them all. I know they're off camera, but that way maybe I can get a little bit more wire out of it. Now it is still in there very tight. Could it be this one holding everything back? No. Okay, so I might be limited on space with this particular wire. So let me go ahead and try to clean up the rest of this and get it kind of untangled here. All right, this one too. That one's already plugged in. This one's already plugged in. Let's tuck that in there. All right, we should still have enough space. Let's go ahead and plug that one in there. So this white one with the white cap is the TH thermistor hot end. So what we're just gonna do is when this one is slid into this one, I'm just gonna slide it into this slot, and as you can see, that gives us plenty of space over there. That should be okay. All right, let's keep going. I got two up here at the top. Let's see, this is the end stop for Y. So this actually goes down to the bottom. And Y is right over here. Okay. We got a stepper, the Y stepper. That is right over here. Now I know why they were zip tied up here, just to get them out of the way. All right, we have another stepper, the extruder stepper. It's all the way to the end, right over there. And another one, the X. All right. So it needs to be plugged in kind of upside down here. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get this one in here now, just to hold it all in place. Nice. Yeah, this is an interesting, really interesting way to hold the wiring in. Okay. What we have left is just a few more. We're in the home stretch here. All right, so another end stop, the X end stop. It's going right over here. Click. And the last plug outside of the screen was this fan, right? That was fan number 2. Fan number 2 is right over here. Okay. So that is plugged in. Everything is in. The board is sitting nice and flush. Let me grab a couple zip ties. I have 2 laying next to me. I probably should have prepped a bit more, but that's okay. First one we're gonna do is this. Let's get all of these wires together and out of the way. There we go. This will help with some airflow in here as well. Get the airflow on the steppers. Let's see if we do actually have some space. Or, you know what? Maybe I can put it over here in the middle. Oh, okay. This could work as well. There we go. I'll just keep it right there for right now. Let's see. Everything is plugged in. Very nice. Let me go ahead and see if I can tighten that up a bit more. Oh, need to go a little bigger. There we go. Yeah. Don't want to strip it, but want it to be as tight as I can get that one. Like I mentioned, we won't have to deal with it that much, so it's fine. Everything's fine. Okay. I don't like how loose this is without this being in its little slot. Let's see if I can get it in the back one and this wire still being good. Oh yeah, okay, we're good. Does it pull it? I guess it does. It does pull it, and it kind of pulls on the board. Okay, so we're going in with this far one. There we go. Let me make the mistakes so that you guys don't have to. There we go. Nothing's being pulled. Is the board nice and even? There we go, like that. And I could definitely see a good reason to hot glue this in if you'd like, just to make sure it's 100% in where it needs to sit and it doesn't move. Another reason why mine's moving around, by the way, is because of that one bolt that I undid in the beginning. As you can see, that's just the top cover. And it actually looks like I had some of the cables get in the way of it. So yeah, definitely a good reason not to mess with that bolt at the top. But you know, you live and you learn. Maybe if you saw this video first, you won't undo that bolt. All right, now the cover, we can put that back on. And actually, you know what? Let's plug in the screen, obviously. Screen can only go in one way. And let's plug in this cover with the fan that was on there. Like that. And should we plug it in and check before we close it all up, just to see if it powers on? I think that might be a good idea. The power supply, the way that it's laying right now, the power supply is not in a good place. But you know what? Let's assemble it all the way, and then we'll plug it in and see what's up. And if we did it correctly, it's fine. If not, like I said, let me make the mistakes so that you don't have to, and we'll follow along. All right, let's get this closed up. Nice and easy. All right, just like that. Okay, let's get the right attachment on here. There's two shorter bolts that go in the front here, and then two longer ones. One for where there's a single bolt on the side right over here. The longer one goes there. I'll just do that one next. Aha. Okay, here's the problem with that zip tie location that I had. It blocks the hole. So there we go. Hopefully you saw this portion first in the video. So that you can let me make this mistake. Let's go ahead and move that cable out of there. I'll put it back on in the middle so it's not snagging that one cable, or pulling it rather. All right. Definitely double check, triple check to make sure you've plugged everything in, not only correctly, but have everything pushed in so that there's no problems. You definitely don't want your thermistors to be loose, because they are the ones that are helping keep temperatures correctly and making the printer know if there's any kind of thermal runaway or problem. So you definitely want those to be plugged in correctly in the right spots. All right, and this one is the long one, just because it has to go through the extrusion, and it actually holds all the wiring kind of like sandwiched in there. So it's definitely not going anywhere, nothing's moving. All right, and we only have one piece of hardware left, and that was the one that I should not have taken apart. So now that this is back together, I'm gonna go ahead and flip the printer over, change the camera for you, plug it in, and we'll check it out, how it works directly as being plugged in and turned on. And hopefully it turns on. Let's see what happens. All right, I have the printer back up. As you can see, we need the SD card from the stock Aquila. Let's go ahead and throw that in there. There we go. Everything lines up perfectly over here where the plug is and the SD card is. And I have the plug here. Let's go ahead and throw it on the power supply. Now it's all the way back here now instead of on the back. All right, there we go. And let's give it power and see what happens. Okay, fan's on. It actually says Ender right over there. It says Ender 3 Pro ready. This fan is on. Is the motherboard fan on? The motherboard fan is on. Let's go ahead and look through here. Let's click the about. It says Marlin version 1.0.1 2020-04-25 Ender 3 Pro. Okay. Print from TF. Okay, so it looks like we can go ahead and start a print. I'm gonna go ahead and go to prepare, and let's go preheat PLA. Preheat PLA. Looks like it's going to 60 and 200. While it's doing that, let me go ahead and grab some filament, and we're literally just going to print directly how it is. Nothing changed. You've seen everything that I've done so far. This is the old board. Let me grab the filament. 1 second. All right, today we are going to use Chocolate PLA Plus by 3D Max, which is the filament I've been using pretty much regularly now on all of my machines. And it is really inexpensive if you buy it in bulk. If you buy 10 or more, it goes all the way down to only $9, $8.99 per roll. Vacuum sealed. Let's go ahead and get this puppy open. All right, look at that. Nice color. Put it on the top here. All right, we'll feed it through the extruder. Probably gonna block the view a little bit. Let's get that fed all the way down in there. There we go. What temperature are we at? We're already 200 on the hot end, so I'll go ahead and push some through, holding the lever back and just pushing it in. As you can see, I was printing with white before. So we'll just keep pushing that through until the white is gone. There we go. That should be enough for now. Clean that up. All right, so the bed is already at 60 degrees, or getting there, which is nice. Technically speaking, I would want to do all of my PID tuning. Because this is a new board, you'd want to do E-steps again. However, everything for this particular case, for this particular use case, should be the same. So let's go ahead and we'll give it another couple seconds. There we go. Looks like it's warmed up. All right, print from TF. Let's do just something quick. Let's do the test hook. Okay, everything is moving correctly. It is definitely silent. Obviously what you can hear is the fans right now. But these steppers are totally silent. So far so good. Let's see how this end stop works. We shouldn't have to do too much leveling. I know the printer was upside down and sideways laying there, and we were putting pressures on areas that normally wouldn't. But let's see if it goes out of level or not. The screen says bed cooling. That's interesting. Don't know what that's all about. Now it says extruder heating. Everything's at 260, so it should be good to go. Yep, the bed is definitely hot. And the hot end's hot because we put filament through it. There it goes. And let's see if we have tuning. Let's go baby step. We gotta go way up. There we go. Let's go back down. Right around there. Okay, looks like a negative 0.3 baby step was pretty good. The first strand there wasn't that great, but now it should be okay. The test hook doesn't have a long skirt or a long brim, so it's actually hard to live level on it. Go ahead and remove that loose line. See if I can grab it in a second. All right, I'm going to let this thing print this test hook completely, and then we'll get back and I'll see if I can plug in a different screen and see if it works right out of the box. I actually doubt it because the screens do have their own firmware that works with the firmware that's on the machine itself. But if it's working on this right out of the box and it says the Ender 3 Pro, I know for a fact you can just load the SD card with a different Ender firmware and the screen, and you can get it running on the original Aquila, the Aquila X2, and this Aquila C2. All three of them, the procedure is going to be almost identical. The only difference with the regular Aquila and the Aquila X2 is going to be that you need to put in firmware on the actual motherboard and the display, because the displays are color displays, and I have videos on how to do that, and it's actually really easy to do. So no worries there. Everything else will be exactly the same. All right, I'll see you right when this thing is done printing. There you go, a super easy plug and play upgrade for any H32 machine that gives you the access to any kind of firmware that you would like. Now, if you have a C2, as you saw, plug, play, print, nothing needs to be done, and you already have Marlin firmware pre-installed on the board. If you have an H32 Aquila or an H32 Aquila X2, the only thing you're going to have to do is do a firmware upgrade onto the board, and I have videos on how to do that. You're gonna have to do both the main board and the screen itself. Very easy, just a few more minutes on top of what we did in this video to get you up and running, and it should work completely out of the box. The H32 boards are perfectly fine if you don't want to expand on anything. If you just want to stick with how it is and print, and it prints perfectly fine, everything will be good to go. But if you want to modify, if you want to get a little bit deeper into it, if you want to get things a little bit more precise, you're going to need a third-party firmware, and this is the perfect way to do it. It is very easy to do, and the fact that it's only 35 bucks and from a reputable brand, good to go. I can definitely recommend this upgrade. Definitely check out this beautiful chocolate 3D Max filament. I mean, this test hook, I know it's not an elaborate print, but it came out so nice. It looks like chocolate. I want to eat this. If I printed a pretzel instead of this hook, I mean, I would definitely probably bite it just to make sure it's not actually chocolate. Also, can't wait until filament actually smells. Any filament manufacturers want to get that going? I'll do some test prints. Either way, check me out on our Discord. If you guys are having printer issues or want to showcase some beautiful prints, head on down to the Discord. A big awesome community down there. Everyone's helping each other out, which is really nice to see. Thank you all for helping me with that. Also, check out the Patreon that I started recently for this channel, a direct way to help the channel and also get some perks for Discord, as well as helping me vote on new videos, seeing videos earlier than everybody else, and during shoots. You can get a hold of me a lot more directly through Patreon than you can everywhere else. Guys, appreciate all your support. As always, I'll see you all in the comments below. Later.